All right, what up? We're back with another stream, Champagne Sharks. I'm Vita Star, along with our favorite, one of our favorite sharks, Kenny.
I don't
This
know.
one,
Some people's favorites, but some people,
you want to? Well, I can't say you my favorite because I love Mario and T. But yeah, you're one of my favorites out of all of my favorites, which is all of you guys. But anyway, that's how you do it when you have kids. You just tell them they're all your favorites.
yeah, I know, right? You gotta lie to one of them.
Yeah. Today we wanted to talk about a couple of things. One of those things is on the headline, which is black dating choices, or not just black dating choices, but just dating choices and preferences. Are your dating preferences racist? Can they be racist? And there is something that sparked this conversation. I'm going to go ahead and share that on the screen now. Thank you. Welcome, Pensive
I
of
can
Dora.
never get his name right.
I feel so bad every time.
Pensivador.
Oh, it's Pensive. No, it's Pensive of Door.
Conceive of door. Yeah.
Oh, is that what you said? Conceive. So it's like you said, like Theodore, like Conceivador.
I know, right? What's up, Walter? Walter? I haven't seen
What's
that name
up,
in here in a
Walter?
minute.
So there was this article on everyone's favorite publication, the New York Post. You know,
Which I found. Hold on, I just found out. I didn't know this because I don't live in New York and I'm not from New York. That the New York Post is kind of like the tabloids of the New York.
Yeah, it's like the Inquirer or something.
Yeah.
But the difference is they every once in a while post a little something that's good,
Right.
But for the most part, it's just trash journalism, clickbait type shit.
Yeah.
So everyone's favorite bullshit publication, New York Post, had an article written by a black woman named Grace something, or Asia Grace. There we go.
Asia Grace, yeah.
Asia Grace. And I'm about to pull up this article for you guys to see. So I thought it was very fascinating, the type of conversations that people who look at dating apps and see the preferences as negative. So I find that to be really interesting. So why your swipes on Hinge and OkCupid might be racist. So I looked at the article, and first off, I saw the headline, I was already kind of turned off. Like, okay, how could your personal preferences around dating be racist? But whatever. Right. And in the article, so I guess they're also promoting some book, but fuck their book.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck their book. So they're trying to basically say in their book that that people are, when you're filtering out people based on race, it's basically racist. So these authors or whatever of these who did this research, they found that race-related preference filters on digital dating platforms help foster racist attitudes, especially towards Black women. Filtering out people based on race is a normal practice on dating apps, Lundquist told the Post. The idea of having racial preferences is unacceptable and illegal in any other arena, but it's literally built into the structure of these dating apps. So if you've never been on Hinge or OkCupid, you can actually filter out based off of race. I've been on both sites. I've met people on both sites. And
Walter. Me too.
What did he say?
I block white people on OkCupid.
We all do. So that's exactly why I want to talk about this, because the way they're framing it in this article is that it's racist and it's against Black people, and specifically Black women. Because I've learned that if you just throw Black women in shit, it makes your shit more political.
It makes it that much wrong. Yeah, it's that much more wrong when you do shit to Black women. Like Black men, yeah, fuck them. Right. It happened to Black women. Can you believe that shit? Like their own separate race of people.
Right. If they had just thrown in, how they do the whole intersectionality thing. It's racist against queer, poor Black women from the rural areas. You know how they do.
It's like those people that be on social media and they try to say, if you won't date a trans person, then you're transphobic. Like, what? Right. No, I'm not. I just don't want to date somebody, And
that's the thing. Like, how can we say that someone's preferences in their dating choices is racist?
Right. iSoundInfo just said it. iSoundInfo just said it. The next step will be if you don't set a preference for trans or gay, then you're going to be labeled a bigot.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. But this is my thing. And when I read this article, it was very clear that this girl was trying her best to make it sound like it was racist against Black women. And I had a big problem with that because it's like you were trying to show Black women as being victims again. Like, there's an obsession with victimizing Black women that I find to be extremely sickening. Like, you can't constantly victimize us and then at the same time, or say we're victimized, and at the same time say we're the most empowered and we're the most successful, and we're like, which one is it? Like, it doesn't.
So who do you think this politically? Who do you think this article is targeted towards?
Oh, Black women who want white dick.
No, politically.
Oh, politically? What do you mean politically?
Like, so this art, in my opinion, this article is geared towards all those Black women that was on Twitter caping for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all that shit. This is a specific, because you can't. This ain't all Black women. This is a specific type of Black woman that complains about this. So they didn't just write this just cause. Like, this has been a consistent complaint on social media because all of these whack ass newspapers, they be sitting on social media looking at what people be saying. The New York or the LA Times, they had that one brother. This was like 4 years ago, which for me means about 5 accounts ago. This was about 3-4 years ago. There was a brother from the New York Times, and he was going through like spying on Black Twitter, and he was going to create a column in the LA Times, basically reporting what's being said on Black Twitter. But Black Twitter was so crazy he couldn't keep up with it, so he just said, "Fuck it." You know what I'm saying? So these newspapers do this, and they sit around and they follow certain people. So you're gonna get the blue check Black women, the academia PhD Black women, the Black men are trash Twitter. All of those are the ones where they come up with this scientific fake, I guess is anecdotal evidence that Black women are being treated so badly on social dating sites because they can't get white men. That's really what it all boils down to. It's not about Asian men. It ain't about Latino men. It's about white men, period. Right.
And that's it. That's the thing. They won't just come out and say that's what it is. So they have to make it out like we're victims.
Yeah.
They say, look, and that's a couple of problems I have with this article. One, the reason I liked those two apps, Hinge and OkCupid, was because I could filter out other races and focus on Black men. Tinder, you can't do that. You know how much swiping I have to do, and I be swiping so fast to get through that shit to get to a Black person. Then I accidentally swipe past that motherfucker because I'm just swiping them.
And you ain't gonna never see him again.
You're right. You know, I just be trying to get, and I'm like, damn, he was kind of cute. I didn't even chance to even look at his profile because my brain was just swipe. So I preferred apps like Hinge and OkCupid. The only reason I didn't like the Black apps is because for some reason the apps like Black or BLK and some of the what's the Black people meet. It was like you get
those are the worst. Those are the worst apps.
Like,
they're bad.
And it's really bad. Like, I can't even explain. So
I'm in white ass Portland. I use both of those apps before. I don't use any of those apps anymore because I live in Portland. So in Portland, if you use the Black app, you're only, because once you run out of people in your area, it goes to the next big city.
Oh,
so once it leaves Portland,
out of people. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I run out of people. So next thing I know, I'm like, oh, she's fine as hell. Then I look where she's from, Sacramento. Oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Hinge and all of those. You gonna run out of black people. And up here in Portland, it's a whole nother conversation for another time. I don't even want to get into that, but it's just bad. It's just bad. So you really don't have any options up here unless you're gonna date white women or date Black women that are into this kind of shit.
See, that's tough. I couldn't even imagine being in an area where I couldn't find a lot of Black people.
That's why I'm leaving soon.
We'll come back to LA.
I would love to. If I can get me a job and afford to live down there, I will be on the first thing smoking as soon as my daughter graduates high school next year.
You got family here already, right?
Yeah, I got family down there.
Well, you straight. You should just stay on somebody's couch. No. Rock the Mic, thank you so much for the donation. We appreciate that very much. Rock the Mic said it started with that Steve Harvey segment that made it to Nightline like 9 years ago, where he interviewed them 9 Black women about why they couldn't find a man. Shaking my head. Yes, I saw that, and I remember that. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. That was ABC.
Yep.
Who did that? Was that Nightline? ABC.
Yeah, that was about 5-6 years ago when they did that.
No, that was more than 5-6 years ago.
Wasn't that like at the beginning of Barack's first term?
Yes, it had to be like 7-8 years ago.
About 2010, 2011, something like that.
Yeah. You're right, because and that was one of the things I realized was happening right off the top with media. They started when you had Obama elected to office, and you see him with his black wife.
Yep.
And you see this all over the place, and all of a sudden, there's all these articles popping out.
Yep.
Talking those articles, they had what do you call it? Like forums, open forums.
Oh yeah,
why black women aren't getting married, and they had that special. And Steve Harvey,
which people don't understand, it's a low-key diss to black women, and this is why it's a low-key diss.
100% diss.
And T talked about this, I think, about a week ago on here, and he played the clips from that broadcast, and it's a low-key diss because what they ain't telling you is that, oh, we locked all your men up. Your men is locked up. You're locked up.
No, they said that in the specials. That was the problem to me, is that they pretty much, this is what they were saying. Black women are unmarried because of professional black women. They were very clear professional, which was so funny because most of them were like teachers. Like it wasn't like
they wasn't Fortune 500 CEOs or nothing. No.
It was like I'm a partner at a law firm.
They worked at the welfare office.
Oh, not quite that, but it was like some jobs that, they weren't that
right
high level. And so they were saying that, well, they had a whole little graphic and everything. Black women are graduating from college and they're getting degrees, but they don't have a lot of options in men. If you count for the men who don't graduate from high school, then there's the men that get locked up. And then there's like, they had a whole list of like, basically black men ain't shit. And that was the problem. They framed it. It wasn't even about like, how do we address the fact that so many of our families need support because the prison system is breaking our families apart. That's a real conversation. Right. That's not what they were doing. They were using that stat to demonize black men and to turn black women away from black men. Otherwise, there's no reason to do that. And Steve Harvey
also what they did was, he and I'm guessing he started cheerleading.
That was his, they did a special. They did that special, and then they had him on it talking about why these black women couldn't get married. And by the way, buy my book. Think Like.
So first of all, just for chits and giggles, because it's Erykah Badu's birthday today. Erykah Badu used to write jokes for Steve Harvey, so we ain't even gonna give him no credit. We're gonna give Badu credit.
I'm not sure what his joke, but I know she used to work for him.
Yeah, she used to write some of his material. This is the crazy thing when you're talking about why black women are. What they try to do is because this is how white America works. They love blue collar for white folks, and they make movies of blue collar. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, blue collar shit. But when it comes to black men, blue collar is not good enough for black women. You know what I'm saying? Right. They try to make it like because these black women have all these degrees. Well, the brother that's a welder and a pipe fitter and working at the oil foundry and at the steel mill, he's not good enough. That motherfucker makes $100,000 a year. So you got to tell the truth.
Well, this is the thing. They didn't even go down the stats of black women. How many black women don't have a high school diploma? How many black women have been locked up?
It was only black men.
There were no stats on that. Because what about the fact that, most black women don't have degrees?
No.
Let's just be honest. But people, I don't know why people think we do. We don't. Most of us can't even afford to finish our school.
No.
In fact, a lot of us have families and can't finish school. So I don't even know where that idea comes from. And then they're using that fake idea to use against black men. And I thought the whole thing was sickening, and then also kind of framing, and then they would do the forums. I think I think Steve Harvey was involved in that too, but I know Hill Harper was. What's her name? Cheryl
Underwood.
No, Shepard.
Cheryl Shepard. Yeah.
Cheryl Shepard. Okay.
Yeah.
Her, the short girl with the big titties.
Yeah.
Yeah, her. And some other people I think were on it. But I remember that forum that they had about why black women couldn't get married. And even then it was like, well, black women have attitudes and black women are this. And I'm just like, none of this is about actually helping heal black families.
It's about keeping them separated.
Right. Being divisive. So now we're arguing about whether or not black women are hard, to be partners with, and whether or not black
Sherry
men.
Shepard. Yeah, there you go. Sherry Shepard.
Sherry Shepard. Okay.
Sherry Shepard.
Yeah, so and probable cause they already have yelled at me. I think we missed they already have. Um so but it's like you're giving us all these negatives to keep us divided. Like
Yeah.
I don't but what bothers me more isn't even New York Post. That doesn't surprise me. ABC doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is all the Negroes feeding into the shit.
Now that's a different story within itself. Because this is the thing. As much as black folks, especially online, as much as black folks like to talk bad about white people, I'm white. Can you believe white people doing this? You believe everything they say, you fucking idiot. You believe everything they say. These motherfuckers tell you you got more degrees than everybody else. You believe it. These motherfuckers tell you that it ain't that it's black men's own fault that they locked up and locked out of jobs and locked out of society,
Right.
and you believe it because it's about for a lot of people, it's about self-esteem because a lot of people have a lot of messed up shit going on in their head and they already have their own preconceived notions because they daddy wasn't shit or whatever's going on in their life. So they already believe that black men ain't worth a damn. So all they need is white folks to give just a sprinkle a little bit of that anecdotal evidence. Here they come. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Oh, see, I see. Here go the stats right here, and it'd be some article like that shit. You be like, what the? This is your evidence that black men don't like black women or some shit? Like because you can't date a white man on Tinder or Hinge, then you'll turn around and say, well, the reason why there's racism on the dating apps is because black men and rap music. Like it's always the same stupid shit. You be like, man, you guys are fucking like children. You're like a child.
Yo, it's but so I was trying to be cautious. You're not like this. Because you always tell me I need to stop being so nice. But I you do always say that.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
But I do want to also acknowledge, and I think we talked about this before we went live. Um, the media has a lot of us fucked up as black people
Yeah.
because we already had so much trauma and disunity and things that were happening and had happened in our community. But I don't think we understand the importance of being and connecting with other black people. What I mean by that is when we grew up, we were watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and all these
Yeah.
little TV shows, and they would tell us, you know, look at these kids, race doesn't matter, and they're kids just like you. They show a little Mexican kid kicking a soccer ball, a
Right.
little Indian kid like doing something like with their mom or something, and they show you some Chinese kid cooking with their dad. Like it's always like
Right. Right.
they're just like you. Like okay, yeah, they're kids. They're like me. Okay, so what? But really, what they were implanting in your mind is like sort of what I call eracism. So basically, pretending like racism doesn't
Race
exist
don't matter. Right.
and then to teach everybody to. But in fact, I wish I'd taken a picture of it. I could have sent. I could have posted it here. I was at Costco today, and there were these books that had a whole little section for little black kids or something, right? A couple of them were specifically for black girls. And I have a niece. Growing up, one of my favorite things was when people would give me a book and there were little black kids in it. I used to love that shit, right? So I
Right.
was like, let me go get her a book. I opened up a few of the books, and one book I really liked, right? I mean, I'm going through like, oh, this is great. And each page is like, the book is called I Am Enough, right? Oh, I'm really big on self-esteem and all that. So, oh, this is great. This is great. This little black girl the whole time. Then it gets towards the end, and it's like on some We Are the World shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't make it a bad book per se, but I was looking for something that'll make her feel pride in herself,
Right.
and showing that and pride in being black. What I mean, they didn't show like array of different black people, like some
No, they're gonna throw you in with everybody else.
exactly. They didn't even. I would have rather seen them show me like Jamaican black kids and some black kids from Nairobi or something. You know what I mean? Like
The way that they do racism when it comes to trying to educate kids, what they try to do is they try to create some kind of way that you can assimilate, which is not real.
exactly.
That's what they're trying to do.
That's exactly what I was saying. So a lot of these other groups, they know what's up. They aren't confused. We're watching this shit thinking everybody else is on this We Are the World shit, and they ain't.
No, at all.
Them Koreans still not letting you have no beauty supply store.
Nope.
They
Nope.
they united against that. They united against you on that, right?
Yeah, like literally, they really did. There's a video. It's old LA. It's like from like
Yeah, I think you showed it on
93,
here.
94.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
I think were you here when because I know me and T talked about it, but
I was here.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we talked about that, and we showed like how these Korean businesses and Korea in particular, the government,
Yeah,
were partnered with the U.S. to bring these beauty supply stores to Black neighborhoods, right?
right, right.
And lock us out of being able to even have certain products in our stores. So when you have something like that happening, and then you turn around and you see they're pushing this "We Are the World" shit, and we telling each other, "Oh, you should be dating out of your race, and you should be doing all," but we haven't even connected within ourselves. We still haven't healed
Mm-mm.
from our shit, so we
You
can
gonna
stop believing all this other.
you gonna take your untreated shit into an interracial relationship.
Look, right? You listen. It's already hard enough with somebody got the same culture, same background as you, same family structure. That's already hard on its own. Now
Yeah,
you want to add extra elements to it, and you don't even realize you have all this racial trauma that's about to play out because there's no way to avoid that. And then, more than likely, especially if they're white, being a racist and you acting like it doesn't exist or it's not happening. That's
that's the way to not hold white people accountable for white supremacy racism is that you just promote. Well, racism will just go away if you get married to somebody that's not the same race as you. And we've seen
yeah.
stories upon stories upon stories of specifically Black women talking about how when they got married to a white man and they had sex, the white man was calling her all kind of jungle monkeys and hoes and all kinds of
There's
shit.
a whole little TikTok thing about
Yeah,
wasn't that
yeah.
TikTok or Instagram?
I think
Some
it was
shit.
TikTok.
It might have been TikTok. It's always TikTok. But if all these Black girls, and I think it was TikTok because they were talking about how they realized their partner was racist or something racist their partner said, and I was just like, how are y'all confused? Like, I know the signs were there before you guys even
Yeah.
got to it.
Oh yeah.
Because I know he didn't do any of the work he was. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure none of that happened.
Yeah.
Rock the Mic said, "Dare I say, as a Black man, it's our fault too. Academia socialized these Black women, and we didn't think enough to push back because we were too busy rolling their eyes at them and calling their bluff." I'd have to see an example of what you mean by that. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know,
I would need to see an example of that.
because how has academia socialized us, and you and Black men just kind of stood on the side? Because one, I think academia socialized particular Black women, right?
Yeah, certain
Um,
kinds.
but the reason why they were even able to socialize them because they were already coming from certain backgrounds in the first place.
Absolutely. And
They
that's the
probably
reason
already
why. Right.
they probably already came from middle class backgrounds, came from white neighborhoods, because otherwise that shit. Because one of the biggest culture shocks you can have is going to fucking college and being experiencing
Absolutely.
racism blatantly for the
Absolutely.
first time. That was my experience,
When
right?
you go to you went to USC. When you go to
Yeah,
college, you're gonna
it's
see black. You're gonna see Black people you don't identify with. Damn the white folks.
Yo, it was a big shock, right? So growing up in South Central, I think I told you guys this before, during the 90s and early 2000s, it was majority Black
Yeah.
and some Latino, right? And then over time, I think it got even more and more Latino where I was at. And so I was just seeing Blacks and Latinos everywhere.
Right.
We didn't see white people. And the white people that did come were like teachers and, outside of microaggressions, most white people stayed in their lane, right? If they came to the hood. So I go to USC, which we also call the University of South Central because it's literally in South Central.
Yeah, because back in those days, I remember this was years ago, long time ago. And this is when I played sports. This is high school. I think I was senior year in high school when we went on a recruiting trip down there. Mm-hmm. And they used to have a fence up around there because over there, I think who's over there, the Swans or the Brim? Somebody's right on the other side of USC. Yeah, it's all Bloods on that side over there.
No, it's the 20s. So the Bleeding Bloods over there.
They all over there.
But just south of that in the 30s, so it's actually a few gangs right there, right?
Yeah, because I know Skip is over, so the Outlaw 20s is over there. And what they were saying was, when you're on a recruiting trip, you're gonna have students that are a chaperone, stuff like that. And they were like, don't go over there. If you go over there, we're not liable for whatever happens to you.
Yeah.
And it's literally diagonal from USC's campus. Like, it's not far.
No, it's not. No, not just diagonal. USC is in the hood. Like,
it's in the hood. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it, like, when I say in the hood, like during the riots, like across the street got burned down. Like,
yes.
That's where they were.
Yes.
So the thing is, I go to USC my first time really being around that many white people that often. And it was one of the biggest shocks of my life.
Yeah.
And most of the people who went from where I was from and went to college, unless they were already kind of borderline in the first place, a little coonish, for the most part, you got to school and most black people started hating. Even the Latino kids didn't like white people, the ones that came from the hood, because they get over there and these white people start saying racist shit all fucking day. I just couldn't.
Those white kids are from not from nowhere near where. First of all, they're going to be from other cities and other states, but the ones that's from California.
Well, USC has the Laguna Hills people,
right?
Remember the show Laguna Hills? Those were USC students,
absolutely.
And they get a lot. So I got a lot of the deep Orange County kids.
Orange County,
really, really rich,
right?
Really rich white,
right? Because USC is a private school.
Yes, it's a private school, and I was only there because I had a scholarship, y'all. So please don't think I'm rich. Of course, if I didn't have a scholarship, I would definitely not have a degree from USC. Did I know Corliss Bennett at USC? Corliss sounds like a familiar name. Bennett's a very common last name, and black folks don't remember nobody's last name. So,
what does Mama call him?
Yeah, Corliss. I mean, that name sounds familiar. You have to tell me who. Like, I've been out of college for a very long time. I'm not gonna tell you how long because
But when it comes to like what Rock the Mic is saying, I think it depends on the era. So if you went to college during the Cosby era, which is the 80s, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that was the case because you have to remember a lot of our academics were older black people. There wasn't a lot of young black people in academia in the 80s. You had people like, what do you say? Agreed. Tommy Curry talks about that black women who grew up upper middle class, tethering themselves. Oh, of course. Yeah. Black people, period. I say all the time, those black people that come from the suburbs, they only come to the hood when they go visit their grandma because their grandma never left the hood. She still owned the house in the hood. And when they come to the hood, they don't do very well talking with their cousins. You know what I'm saying? We all got them family members.
There's a whole podcast episode of this show. Everyone tried to all my little liberal friends tried to put me onto called Two Dope Queens.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit.
HBO show, right? But before they had the HBO show, they had a very popular podcast. Jessica Williams and this chick who I hadn't heard of until Two Dope Queens. And so both of them have white boyfriends or had white boyfriends. Both of them are very, So anyway, in this particular episode, it was a trip because Jessica Williams and the other girl were talking about how they go from like the suburbs to their other black family in the hood and how basically they feel marginalized amongst their black family in the hood. Now, the wild part about that is it's usually the ones that are from the suburbs that come to the hood and start looking down on you.
Yeah.
And they don't realize they're doing it. Because I had cousins that were like that, right? They live, they have both parents, live kind of nice, have a nice house. For black people, we just think you have a big house, you're rich.
And they're not doing as good as white people.
I'm going to say, because if you know black people, you got a big house in Las Vegas, in the middle of the fucking desert.
That ain't shit.
In Palmdale or some shit.
In Palmdale, Glendale.
They doing something. So I had cousins like that, and then they would come to town. And to kick it with us in the hood, and then you should just hear the shit that they say and how they talk and what they talk about. Ew, like that's ghetto, or I don't want to go over there. Are you sure? Like they just do all that little snotty shit.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but those same cousins, as we got older, when they came around, you could tell that they was coming over to like steal a little bit of culture. You know what I'm saying? As you got to be 13, 14. They kind of would, when they would come around, first of all, they didn't want to be there anyway, because, when you get older, you don't want to go visit your grandma because that's not fun. But if they did come, they would eventually get comfortable, and you could tell that they was kind of like there to like sample whatever new was going on in the hood so they can go back to the suburbs and say the new hip words and all that kind of stuff to be around white folks. Like you could tell.
I don't know if I had those. I had most of the cousins that were just snots, and they didn't want to deal with the hood at all. Other than that, I can't think of anyone that was more like just trying to get cool. Now there were some that tried to be hood, which I thought was funny because if most people in my family, even if we're from the hood, we're not the stereotype of
Yeah,
the
you
hood.
ain't dumb. You ain't a bunch of
Right.
dummies.
And that's why I said stereotype, because people who
Yeah.
don't actually live in the hood, for some reason, they tend to think we are all, like, or the majority of the black people in the hood are a certain way, and it's not
Right.
true. Especially in a place like LA, where in the hood you got people who will make $300,000 a year.
Hell yeah, shit.
You can't live north of the 10 freeway if you're black. So keep your black ass in South Central.
Right.
Yeah, but that whole idea of like leaving your area, I'm sorry, not leaving. The whole idea of your family moving out because they do better, put you in better schools and all that shit, and then you go to visit your relatives in the hood, and then you go to college and you start writing these blabbity articles about what blackness is. That's the shit that irritates me.
And those are the ones that end up getting the jobs, like Rock the Mic says, to push the culture forward. And that's how you get the Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill is from Michigan, but she is not from Flint. She's not from the hood in Detroit. Like, don't let nobody lie to you. That ain't the case. So you get the Jemele Hills. Then you'll get the, for all intents and purposes, people that put shows on that show that, like Issa Rae. You know what I'm saying? You get that kind of stuff. And white people handpick those people. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that white folks don't know that there are really, truly talented black people that are from the hood that can give you an authentic depiction of what being black in the hood is like, the real deal. They go out of their way to pick these suburban black folks because they know that there's a certain amount of ass kissing and I guess you want to call it a non-threatening vibe that you're gonna get from a black person that comes from the suburbs, as compared to like you hire Big U, nigga, you know what the fuck you're gonna get, and I don't know if you want that. You got to treat that man correct. You know what I'm saying? But instead of going to get Big U, we'll go get Hill Harper. You know what I'm saying? And I can't stand that motherfucker.
You know what's funny? I used to have a crush on Hill Harper because I think he was so cute when I was like in college and whatnot. Right out of college, he was like my guy. And then over time, as I got older, it's like, man, he's so corny.
Yeah.
And I don't mean corny because whenever you say that, people start automatically assuming, oh, you must like thugs. It's not.
Yeah, no.
I'm saying he's corny in the conversations he has. Sometimes the topic, because sometimes he says some dope shit, but sometimes it's kind of like generic shit that I think is just kind of like it's safe. He says really safe things.
Safe, real safe,
very safe. There was something somebody said, and I think he took it off.
So Clarence Emmy said they picked diet blacks.
Yeah, somebody said something else too. That I thought was funny. I can't find it. But
Outlaw just said, he said they dealt with hood folks in the 90s, and that's when they learned not to do it no more. So and we talk about that a lot. Me and T talk about that a lot, of how hip hop culture is when like Steve Rifkin, who used to be I think he was executive for Loud Records. Like, he didn't understand. Like, a lot of those record execs in the 90s, they didn't have a choice. You had to go to the hood to get talent at that time, because that was before gentrification was major. So when you see, and I love watching these videos, me and T talk about them all the time. Those videos, it's like just random people with video cameras walking around New York in 1990. And you look at the way New York looks. And I ain't never been to New York, but I know it don't look like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So when I see this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, they had to go to these areas. They had to go to Queensbridge to get Nas. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? So that, because that's where black people was, and the suburban black people back then, they really had no connection to black people in the hood, for the simple fact that there was no internet. And the only time even they saw black people was on MTV, Yo MTV Raps, BET. That's the only time even they, and not only that, and I don't want to be long-winded, but not only that, those suburban black people were not that far removed from the hood. They had only been out of the hood maybe 5 or 6 years. They hadn't been in the suburbs that long.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So really back then, you kind of was forced, towards now, you can literally go into the suburbs, find a black person, say, hey, Tyrone, can you dance? And then teach Tyrone how to do some dances. And now Tyrone got an album coming out, and his name is Tyga. Yeah, I mean, I ain't shitting on Tyga, but he ain't from the hood.
He's not?
No, he was on that reality show years ago, like a game show.
What reality show?
Tyga was on a reality show a long time ago, before he was singing and rapping. It was like some type of competition. If anybody in the chat remembers that, Tyga was on some type of reality show where he was trying to get a record deal or something like that. This was years ago. Yeah.
That's crazy. I like some of his songs. He's like a guilty pleasure. I used to hate him when he first came out.
He's
But
talented.
especially back when he first came out, I was on my, my Dead Prez type shit. I was on my Immortal Technique and all that shit.
Right.
But like, when Tyga, I didn't really like Rack City. I thought it was kind of corny. But then he had other songs since then. I was like, yo, I kind of like at a party. This shit kind of
He got with the right people. He got with Game. He got with, he got with the niggas in LA that was,
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The name of that reality show was called, no, not that one. He was on one years ago. I'll find it. I'm gonna find it before we end tonight. But he was on a reality show before he became big.
I can't read that name for some. Hold on, let me make this bigger. So, Mali Dalla. Malik, I hope I'm saying your name right. I hate fucking up people's names, so please don't say that. Mali Dalla. So kind of like Mighty Dollar, huh? Disney and other big companies don't want writers who are going to rock the boat. The other day, T and I were, was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday or day before yesterday. T and I were talking about Netflix, and that's the same thing that they do. They pick the people. We showed that clip from. You saw that clip, right? The half Asian guy with the half black girl and the Oppression Olympics. The whole thing made no sense. Written by Black people, and so we showed the clip and we talked about it. And one of the things I was talking about is like Netflix. And I said this multiple times. I said it on other shows. They pick these people on purpose. They know who they're getting. They're not going to let a Negro like me write shit for Netflix.
No.
If
they don't need you. They don't need you exposing no crazy shit. They can't have you doing that.
I won't tell you the big network that was interested in me. They were trying to actually copy the Joe Budden podcast. MTV's has a podcast and they're trying to do right now. And somebody from them was interested in me. I'm sure they went and looked at all my shit and said, never mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
This wasn't even that long ago. So I already know people like you, people like me, we would only make it so far. We're also not ass kissers. Because that's other people have to understand. To even get in certain positions is such a game in Hollywood. You have to be such an ass kisser and put up with people disrespecting you. As long as you're not an executive producer, they will fucking disrespect you.
Right.
I'm on a project with Dream Hampton. She's not somebody I would ever work with again.
Right.
Because you have to be a certain type of way to get certain type of spaces, to get certain types of roles. There's a reason why Bridgerton is on Netflix. Shonda Rhimes does what they want.
Yeah.
She does We Are the World shit. She does they're not dissing her shows. Some of them are good shows. But I'm just saying, like, she does what they want.
But she also gives them a mix of bullshit, too. She puts a good mix of bullshit on TV. And they always come with this, because I know T talked about it last night, that they're going to... Well, you were on last night. And they had that new show that's coming out, basically some type of being Black in America again. They do this every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, ABC's doing that.
Yeah, they do it remember they did it when Barack was in office. They did it on CNN. You know what I'm saying? They do this every 5 to 10 years.
Or VH1. Remember the Tanning of America.
The Tanning of America, exactly.
Like, I don't get... And there's a Netflix one now called They Gotta Have Us.
Yep. There's a number of begging white folks, begging for some white ass to kiss and white ass to get up under.
That shit? I
couldn't even finish it.
It was so bad. It was just so sad. He got great people for the documentary or for the thing. It was great people. I mean, amazing. You got Robert Townsend, who I know has stories after stories.
Oh yeah. But you notice somebody like Robert Townsend is not really on TV that often anymore.
There's a reason for that.
There's a reason why. Exactly.
In Hollywood a lot. He had to fund most of his shit himself.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we have sometimes these opportunities, but because the networks know what they want, we think we have an opportunity. Oh, I'm going to put Black voices out there. I'm going to do this and do that. You're not getting the job because you're going to do too much.
You're going to do too much.
They want you to write dialogue that don't make no fucking sense.
Exactly.
And talk about the Special Olympics and how hard it is to be mixed.
And if you're going to talk about anything that's pro-Black, you better bring up something that got to do with anything that, like, for example, instead of them getting Robert Townsend, they'll go get Desus and Mero. You know what I'm saying? They don't need that. Remember, I asked you and T about the Comedy Act Theater, because there's a show there's the Comedy Act Theater. One of the old broadcasts is on Amazon Prime. and it's Robin Harris. Oh my God, there's a couple other people on there, known comedians, but this is from like Robin Harris died in 1990, so it's before that. But you could tell that the type of comedy and the people that's in there, and I believe the Comedy Act Theater back in them days was on Crenshaw somewhere. But you could tell by looking at the comedy and the people that's there, it's a type of black person that's up in there. They don't want them black people no more. That's too real. That's too real. Look, even Dave Chappelle is intelligent and as smart as he is, and he knows his history, and he's definitely anti-racist. You know what I'm saying? He ain't with the fuck shit. That's safe to them. That's safe. They don't mind Dave Chappelle. That's safe. Robin Harris, Bernie Mac wouldn't make it today.
Right. Well,
unless they could crowbar into some type of old grandpa type of thing, an old uncle.
And even Dave Chappelle has to be super crafty.
Yes.
In how notice how he's extremely specific in how he words things.
Absolutely.
Especially his latest comedy, right? What I thought was, and sometimes it comes off great, and sometimes I don't always know where he's going with shit. But
right.
Somebody's thank you for the donation, Rock the Mic. I saw something pop. There it goes. Monique was on Clubhouse today. Y'all really missed some gems. She talked about this exact issue with black actors being blacklisted. So Monique's another good example. I don't think she's funny that much.
No, I don't.
I'll say sometimes her off the cuff shit is funny when she's clowning people. Like she went in on this dude, and I felt bad for this guy she went in on. So sometimes she can be funny, but one thing I do think that she does is she's not afraid to push back and say shit.
No.
And
I don't think she's
deserves money from Netflix.
No.
I will always say a black person deserves money.
I ain't gonna never say what somebody don't deserve. Now her
how funny she is.
Her situation is different from Dave Chappelle's. But if she feels like this is the thing, it ain't what you think you deserve. It's what you negotiate. She was trying to negotiate. Yes. And they didn't want to negotiate, so she went on about her business. Now, if she would have took the pennies and then complained later, I'd be like, well, nigga, why you sign a goddamn contract? You know what I'm saying? It's like rappers. It's like the rapper contracts. So at the end of the day, like, I don't think Monique is funny per se, but I believe she deserves a space.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? People like Monique, Cheryl Underwood, some more, they deserve a space.
Amy Schumer isn't close to funny.
No, she's not funny at all. No, she's just white.
They got her doing these stupid tampon commercials that don't even make sense. And
the joke, what makes Amy Schumer the joke is because of what she looks like. That's the joke. It's like Roseanne Barr back in the 80s. Well, what was funny about Roseanne was Roseanne Barr. Look at her. That was the joke. To whereas, because Amy Schumer
was actually funny.
She was all right.
She had actually funny quips and jokes and
but she was kind of like the female version of Andrew Dice Clay. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree. Oh, you don't want to know who Andrew Dice Clay is? He's crazy. He's out of his fucking mind.
Or maybe I know the name and the.
He's from like the late 80s. Late 80s. He was the first comedian to get an HBO special, and that shit was crazy. But she was like that. You know what I mean? Whereas like I'm polarizing. It ain't my wit. I'm just polarizing. You know what I'm saying? And I think Monique deserves her some more. Cheryl Underwood. What's the one sister's name?
All of them have had funnier jokes than almost every white female comedian I've seen.
Yeah,
like most of them. Like what's that girl's name? Sarah Silverman. She's not
funny either. She's a racist.
You said what?
She's a racist.
Oh, she's highly racist. Yeah. That whole live from niggerhead shit pissed me the fuck off.
But she thinks she can get away with it because she's a Jew.
Oh, because she's a Jew and they let her say it. Like they literally let her say whatever the fuck she wants, no matter how. As long as doesn't piss off white people, she can say whatever the fuck she wants, which is terrible.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I've only seen her steal the Patrice O'Neal joke, and what's so funny about that is I saw a clip a long time ago. This is like years ago.
Oh yeah, she did steal Patrice O'Neal joke.
And they had these clips of Amy Schumer various clips of other comedians she had stolen from, and it wasn't just her. I think Joe Rogan was stealing jokes.
Well, Joe Rogan tried to call out. So Joe Rogan called out Carlos Mencia because he was stealing jokes. Right. But then Joe Rogan was trying to cover for Amy Schumer for her joke stealing.
Oh, that's right.
Joe Rogan was literally on. I watched it. It was on Comedy Central when he went up on stage and was going at Carlos Mencia, exposing for not being Mexican and everything.
He was fucking racist. I fucking hated him. They brought him on Yeah, he's like Honduran or some shit.
I don't know what he is, but he's not Mexican.
Or he's half or some shit. Yeah, and
Oh,
he was racist as fuck. Like, even this way, if I were Latino, I would have beat his ass because he was
yeah.
saying some really fucked up shit. Like, he's just fucking
He's
disgusting.
not George. George Lopez can say what he's saying. He's actually from the hood and he is Mexican. So
Yeah, he's from San Fernando Valley, which is the hood where
yeah.
the Mexicans are, where they were.
Right.
Yeah, and I actually think George Lopez, he be on that racist shit sometimes too, but he funny, you know. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mind Him and See It. That was his show, and that shit was
Yep.
trash. If he wasn't funny, the show wasn't funny. He's a fucking racist. That's right. He did get called out for not being Mexican, and he was pounding Mexicans all the time. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Rogan is on code when it comes to white women. Example: Ronda Rousey. I don't know what he said about Ronda Rousey.
Well, and I know you don't probably watch MMA or boxing or nothing,
Nuh-uh.
but there was this when Floyd Mayweather was at the height, when he was about to retire and he was at this height, they were going around, could Ronda Rousey beat Floyd Mayweather and all this kind of dumb shit.
Oh, I remember that.
Real stupid. It was based around race because all fighting, all mixed martial arts and combat sports are based around race. No matter what anybody.
They had her fighting. They had her talking about her fighting a few men. It was. I remember the Floyd Mayweather one for sure. There was a couple other people. I can't remember who. I was like, why would you even entertain that? I remember because they were trying to make everybody interested in fighting.
Yeah.
And so I saw a clip of her fighting. I didn't think she was that good of a fighter. I think she won.
Yeah, she could end up getting knocked out, and that was the end of that. So.
Yeah, actually, not shortly after, I had just watched some clips of her, or I watched something. I said, "Yo, I don't think she's that good." I'm not an expert in nothing, but certain things I know because my brother studied boxing, and I just being around my dad was to be do martial arts. So certain things I know about your stances and the way that in order to have. But what happens is I think she was just either overpowering certain fighters. And they made it look like she was just so powerful, but it was because she wasn't fighting people who I think
that were good enough to
compete. Exactly, they weren't that good in the first place.
Or what they would call fixed fights.
That's what it seemed like, and it seemed like they were trying to blow her up.
But they use that dynamic of the black man and try to make him like he's some type of inferior. You're not only just inferior, you're inferior to a white woman who can fight.
Oh, they're gonna reinforce that shit over and over again, always. I know we're gonna go, but just really quickly, we weren't planning to be on here long, guys, and we're not gonna be on here long because I am very tired and very hungry. But I did want to talk about Trick Daddy. I'm not gonna post the clip because actually I'm not gonna pull up I kind of want to pull up the tweet just so you kind of see the comments. How do I show you guys this? I gotta do all this other shit. All right.
Yeah, Key and Peele did appeal to white people, but at least Peele is funny. He's intelligent. He's very creative. His mind.
I think he's talented and smart. I don't think he's funny.
I don't think he's funny. I don't think that's funny at all.
I think he has very much the corny white guy, blavity black humor.
Yeah.
But I do think he's talented, and I'll be honest with you. I think his heart is in the right place, from what I understand, because he really tries his best to I think he really tries his best to hire black people and get them into the industry. Yeah. He's like known for that. He tries to actually get people he respects that might have insight into helping him form some of his stories. So I think his heart is in the right place. I don't think his execution is the greatest. Right. I fucking hated all his movies. So I don't like any of them. I didn't like Get Out.
Really?
Was that his? Yeah, I didn't like Get Out at all. I tried to get into it. There were things I liked about it. I'll say that. So the talent for certain things was there, like the symbolism and all that shit I thought was great. But I have this thing about movies in general, where if I can see something that doesn't make sense, it kind of turns me off. So I kept trying to figure out who was pressing the black lady's hair.
Oh yeah, you way out of space somewhere. I don't know where you went.
That threw me off. Like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. But it wasn't even that. It was the ending of the movie that made me mad. So the way
there's supposed to be an alternative ending too.
Yeah, see, I would have wanted to see probably the alternative because I didn't like that ending at all.
Queen, tell her Get Out was fantastic.
I didn't think it was fantastic. I don't even think it was close to it. It was so many parts of it I thought were corny. And there were certain parts I was just kind of like I said, I think he was talented. I could see the symbolism and all that shit, but I just couldn't. The end of it.
Black lady's hair.
Yeah, I was just joking. I mean, that's one of the things I didn't notice. But I was joking about that. No, but I think it was mostly the ending. I can't remember parts to tell you what things specifically I didn't
Think
like.
about it. I don't want to veer off into like the Get Out theme, but think about it though. The ending does make sense because that's usually how it happens.
Yeah, I have to remember the detail. I have to watch it again to be able to point out to you the things that I didn't like, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
Things I don't like, I just tend to not really remember. But yeah, if y'all love it,
We should watch it and do a review of it. Then I think we should do that.
I have to see people have me review shit, and I'll be like,
We should do it. We should do a Sharks review. Get Out. I don't even know if. Well, I'm sure we've all seen it. I'm sure Mario has seen it.
Get Out. Yeah. Okay. Maybe so. But I don't know how I got into Jordan Peele. I want to talk about Trick Daddy. So because I was taking so long to find this thing. So Trick Daddy.
You sure you don't want to show the video?
I don't want to show the video because I think you can describe it enough. Because it was nothing. I watched it again to make sure there was nothing in it that they would need to see to get. But I think if we describe it, it's fine. I don't want to put that kid on YouTube.
It's kind of like trauma porn.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think we can talk about it without posting the trauma. You know what I mean?
You haven't seen Get Out yet? What?
I mean, you should at least watch it. At least watch the movie. I will say that.
Yeah. No, don't show the video. Don't.
No, I do want to show the tweet. That's all I want to do.
Oh, okay.
I want to show the tweet. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, and if you can see, this is the boy. This is a scale below him. So Trick Daddy starts going off on him by his weight, shaming him, and then tells him to go get the scale and to stand on it. And then he makes him weigh himself, and he just spends the whole time berating him and blaming him for his weight. The boy is 11 years old.
Right.
The thing that bothered me about the video wasn't so much the video as much as the video bothered me. Trick Daddy bothered me, but I know Trick Daddy got fucked up issues, so that didn't surprise me. I don't expect him to be this father of the year.
Right.
But tweets like this in response were bothering me. So in this, you see the video. Somebody says, because the caption says, "Would you consider this body shaming?" And then this guy says, "Yes, this is body." So Sankofa, I don't want to say this guy because I think we follow each other. So Sankofa, he follows me. Shout out to So Sankofa. Yes, this is body shaming at the least. This is an 11-year-old child. If you're concerned, then help him. Don't humiliate him. Right. Here comes this Negro.
Yeah.
This is how men. This makes me so mad. The first line makes me mad. This is how men talk to each other.
No, we don't.
This isn't a sensitive matter at all. He needs to be ashamed, so he will make a change. There is no reason why an 11-year-old should weigh twice as me, and I'm 30.
So stop.
Why would you rather talk to him nice instead of keeping it real? Okay.
So go to that person's profile because I don't know this. I just want to see because I'm nosy. Scroll down a little bit.
Oh, you want to see what she's talking about?
Yeah, no, I just want to see if it's a real, because sometimes this could be a fake black person online.
No, I think this is a real person.
I think that's a real person. So this is the first things first. Black men do not talk to each other like that because talking to a black man like that will get your ass whooped.
I was thinking that too. I was like, who talks to who?
Black men do not talk to each other like that. What black men will say is this, because, and I know this because not just because I am one. If you start noticing your friend is starting to get out of shape or something, you say, "Hey man, you trying to go to the gym? You want to go hoop? Hey man, I just got this bike." You're not gonna put it in his face like, "Man, nigga, you fat." Like that's not the way. First of all, not just men. That's not the way human beings talk to each other. Now, also let me preface this. I'm coming from a mentally healthy state. Okay, so I have to remember that I'm mentally healthy. We're talking about people that this is Twitter, where 78% are not mentally healthy.
Clearly, something has gone wrong if you think that's normal.
Yeah.
If you think that's a normal way for a father to be speaking to his child, if you think that something clearly tells me something's wrong with you, right? But the thing why should the boy be ashamed? Ashamed of what?
He's 11 years old.
First of all, I'm gonna tell you the real shit. Nobody should be ashamed of their own body. That's some sick shit.
No.
If you want to make changes to your body for health reasons or for your own personal aesthetic reasons, that's whatever.
Just tell you a goddamn lie and say no shit like that.
Why Pablo calls you lying? You lying and starting shit because he's lying. But yeah, so like shame, like no, in my opinion, nobody should be ashamed of their body, right? It's your body. You live in your body. It's difficult, and the thing is, and the reason why I say that, because as a person who's extremely hard on themselves about their body, I wish I could. I'm trying to change that. I wish I could just snap my fingers and that be out of my head, because it's really hard for people who, when you're shaming them and making them feel ashamed about their body, it makes it hard to do things. Just enjoy going out to the, like, I feel self-conscious if I sit in my car and eat.
Right.
Like I hate it. Like if I have to, because especially with COVID now, you kind of have to eat in your car if you're going to be out. So I would literally park someplace where I think nobody will see me, just because I feel like I'm too big to be eating in my car. So I say, look at that fat girl eating in the car, because I've been shamed about my body all my fucking life.
And with this young man who's 11 years old, now every time somebody mentions it, if he goes to school and the kid says something, he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to get really down in his self-esteem, or he's going to start fighting a lot.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And with him being 11 years old, he's probably going to thin out. You know what I'm saying? He lives in Florida. I'm sure he's going to be playing football. So, and this is the whole thing about it. And I'm not saying you should be saying it like this, period. But why are you videotaping it? Look, what the fuck did you get out of videotaping that?
So that's the other layer of it, right? So not only do you shame him, you humiliate him in front of the world.
Think about it. Makes no sense.
There's on no planet does bullying your child lead to successful, healthy results. No way. Even if they lose the weight, more than likely it'll be in an unhealthy way.
Yep.
Because they're not concerned about their health. They're concerned about losing weight for you, so you don't shame them. Or they'll get worse.
Look at Fallopian. His dad's the one feeding him. Exactly.
I want to get to that too, Phil, because you're absolutely right. But before I get to that, I really want to talk about like just this idea of how we reinforce this belief that you have to be shamed into changing your behavior.
Right.
That's not a real thing. It's not real. You have to stop that shit. Because one, when it comes to things like weight and how you eat, it's more than just the simple, oh, I just shouldn't eat this. If that was the case, all of us would be sitting up here looking like supermodels.
Look, if you and as a parent, if you believe that your child, who you're a guardian over, who you feed, who you clothe and house, if you believe that your child has a weight problem or whatever is going on in your house, eventually you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror, because you're the one that's buying this food. So genetically, there must be something in his DNA genetically where he gains weight. All right, cool. So instead of you shaming the way he looks and putting him on video, change what you guys eat at home.
Right.
You don't even have to make it you don't even have to make it a big deal. You don't even have to say anything. Just start buying different stuff.
Absolutely. And so for parents who have told me, well, because I've had parents talking about this multiple times. They'll tell me, my kids sneak stuff and they eat it at school, or they get it from their friends. And I tell people, if that's the case, we got to the point, either they're physically addicted or they have an emotional issue.
Yeah, emotional problem. Yeah.
Because there's a reason why they're so stressed out that they feel like they have to have a candy bar.
I'm sure you know, like I know, Vita, that ain't the first time Trick Daddy said something to that young man about his weight.
Oh, you know it isn't. You know it isn't.
That's the first time we saw it.
Right. This other tweet I'm showing you, because this is how sick the conversations are. So someone pointed out that shame doesn't lead to change. It leads to bigger problems like addiction, which is a fact, by the way. It's weird you'd want a child to feel shame, like it's written all over this child's face that it is in fact a sensitive matter, because this lady's whatever said it wasn't sensitive.
Right.
This idiot responds, shame definitely leads to change, but this is a father talking bluntly to his son. He needs to hear this, then get on a diet. He's 11.
He's a fucking 11 years old, dude. But this is the type of poison.
Listen, 11-year-olds don't even have the capacity yet to be able to plan long term. Did you guys know that?
He's 11.
That part of your brain doesn't even turn on until you're 15. Hence why we wait till kids are about 15 before we start talking about college and jobs and shit.
Yeah, at 11 years old, your parents still got to tell you to wash your ass.
Right, right. Or especially at 11, most 10, we have some 10, 11, 12, one of the most difficult ages for kids. That's our adolescence, right? That's when our bodies start changing and shit. Now you got this 11-year-old, you got to remind an 11-year-old to wear deodorant every day.
Yeah, you really do.
So
and I'm dead ass serious. Girls and boys.
Have you had a
Are you serious? Look, like, you have to be nice. You have to be kind and not be so direct when you're trying to advise a kid, especially a kid that's not yours, a kid on hygiene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a certain way to talk to somebody. But this is the type of poison that we always want to talk about. And I don't want to be that person, but we always try to talk about how other people say and do these things, but we'll sit up on this goddamn bird ass app. Why is this somebody knocking on my door? Let me check my daughter come to the door. We'll sit on this bird ass app and literally go through this day in and day out.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're feeding it to. Hold on one second.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got it. But I was just going to say real quick though, because the thing that I wish more people understood is that shaming actually leads to more unhealthy behavior. Because what happens is people start to either dig deeper into the thing that you're trying to shame them for. They start to wear it almost like, well, fuck it, you already think I'm this,
right?
I'm go even harder, or they begin to engage in unhealthy behaviors that lead because they're trying to please you, especially if you're a parent.
And what's going to happen when he gets older? When he's 19, 20, 21, 22, then you're going to see his weight start going whoop, whoop, whoop.
So using my own story, that's exactly what my life was like, right? So my dad would do fucked up shit like this, and I'm pretty much, I always feel bad, but fuck it, he'll have to
he'll get over it.
He has to just get over it. But my father would do shit like, now mind you, I didn't gain weight until I went to live with him. In fact, they used to make fun of me for being skinny when I was a kid, and then I went to live with my dad because of a bunch of trauma and drama and all kinds of shit going on in my family. I was sent to go live with my dad, who was abusing me physically. Right. Not sexually. I have to make sure that's clear. My dad never ever sexually abused me. He physically abused me, and verbally and emotionally abused me. Right. And one of the things he would do, this is emotional abuse. For an example, he would buy junk food. My dad didn't gain weight. My dad's a naturally slim person. Right. He's been skinny all of his life. Right. He would buy junk food and tell me I was the only one in the house that couldn't have any.
Yeah. See, that's.
He'd buy it, it'd be cinnamon rolls. And I'd be like, he'd have it right on the table. Well, you can't have it, you need to lose weight. So, and mind you, I'm a kid. I would do that, buying me clothes that he knows is too small as a way to get me to lose weight. First of all, nobody talked about nutrition. I didn't know.
I was just about to say he didn't change the nutrition. He didn't get you a pass to the gym or a bike or anything and say, hey, let's do this together.
Honestly, I didn't even need any of that. What I needed was not be beaten every day. That would have helped my weight.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
Right? Not screaming at me every day would help my weight a whole lot more than berating me. When I was 15, my dad screamed at me in the middle of the store because I'd given up eating beef. I still don't eat beef till this day.
Right.
And he got mad at me in the store because he wanted to barbecue some ribs. I asked if he could get some chicken too. He starts, I don't even know why you're doing this. You're gonna ruin the whole family event. All this stuff. And he goes into, I don't even know why you gave up beef. You're still fat. I was 15, in the middle of the grocery store, loud as fuck.
And this is a person that said you can't have no junk food. You're the only person that can't have no junk food. Yeah.
I'm worthless. And every chance my dad got, he would make a comment about my weight. Like one time I was watching TV and a man picked up his new bride and was carrying her over the threshold. And my dad says to me, unless you lose weight, no man's gonna do that for you.
Yeah, see, yeah. I
ended up struggling with my weight all my life till this day. Yeah. Right. None of what he did led to any healthy behavior.
No, it's not.
I binged. I tried to starve myself. This is outside of the religious shit.
Well, because you're gonna when you get that type of abuse, you're gonna go about it the entirely wrong way.
All types of the wrong way.
Yeah.
I tried. I would almost pass out trying to be in my rehearsals and stuff because I would just be pushing my body to the limits. I just thought I had to lose all this weight. None of it worked because of my problem. My problem wasn't food in the first fucking place.
No.
Right. And that's the other thing I want to say. It's parents who do the things like what Trick Daddy did. They don't realize they probably caused the problem they're looking at.
Right.
You caused that, not just because of what you buy in the grocery store, because of how you treat that child. You think that's the only time? Think about this. He was bold enough to put that on camera.
Yeah, that's insane.
So imagine what he doesn't put on camera.
That's what I'm saying. That's the first time we saw it. And you could tell by the way, if anybody hasn't seen the video when they see it, you could tell that he wanted to say some extra words. You could tell he was trying to, in his own raggedy ass way, censor what little bit he could without saying what he really wanted to say to the young man. And the thing about it is, when I see young men like that, you know what I'm saying, they're like 11, 12, I swear, you know, eventually he's gonna thin out. You know what I'm saying? But then even if he don't, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not done growing.
Son.
Yeah. He's not, because he's only 11. He's not even 15, 16, 17. But that's your boy at the end of the day. That's your son.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what you're going to do is you're going to drive him away, because as a young man, the streets become a little bit more, you know, taunting and than for a young girl. You know what I'm saying?
It's more than just driving them away. Because I think that's, most people expect things like that. It's the stuff that is underneath that we don't really pay attention to, or we just don't know about people. But that's just going to affect the entire way he behaves the rest of his life.
The rest of his life, yeah.
Because of how he identifies, how he sees himself and his body and his identity. That how you see yourself dictates everything you do.
And the thing that really irritates me about it is because the way I came up, I was raised like my grandparents. Your house is your safe place. You know, motherfuckers in the world gonna say anything and everything about you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when you get home, that's where you're supposed to be safe. So he ain't even safe at home.
Right.
And I know this don't have nothing to do with nothing, but Trick Daddy been getting caught with cocaine, doing drugs for the last however many fucking years. Every goddamn year, this motherfucker getting a charge for having some cocaine on him. You know what I'm saying? So
Pensive of Door said Trick Daddy might be a broken person. Wonder what his childhood was like. It was fucked up.
Bullshit. Yeah.
He had a real, I think he also talked about being sexually abused, but he doesn't talk. The thing about guys like him, they don't talk about it as abuse. He just talks about it like it's regular.
Yeah.
So he said some shit that was like, Trick Daddy, you were like,
that ain't regular, bro.
I think he said he lost virginity at like 11 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
Right? Which is not a healthy age to lose your virginity, guys.
That's not normal.
It's not normal. It's not healthy. It literally leads to psychological issues. You can look this up. Being sexual too early literally leads to psychological problems. But anyway, yes, Trick Daddy is a broken person. I've listened to some of his interviews. I'm trying to remember I can't remember if it was a Nori interview, a Drink Champs, or if it was a Combat Jack interview. I want to say it was Drink Champs though.
Probably was Drink Champs.
I think it was Drink Champs. And so he talked about his childhood. And it was the most fucked up shit I had heard. Yeah. He had a really fucked up life. So him being traumatized and passing on that trauma doesn't surprise me. What I want people to take from this, because this isn't about berating even Trick Daddy, because we know he's fucked up, right? I want parents to really take a look at the ways in which that they try to encourage their children to change certain behaviors. Really look at that. Look at how you treat your children, how you talk to your children. Even if I'm gonna assume Trick Daddy genuinely loves his son and genuinely cares about his son and genuinely wants his son to be healthy, right? As a parent, I'm going to assume that's how he feels.
Makes sense.
And a lot of parents behave. When I talk about behaving a certain way because of your experience and how you feeling, or how you feel about yourself, a lot of times parents don't realize that because of how they feel about themselves, they're taking it out on their children.
It's like the women that have daughters, and as soon as their daughters become like 15, 16, they just treat them like dirt. You know because they see themselves.
With things like that, you'll find, because it's like amazing. There's a really good book called Trauma and Recovery by Judith L. Herman. I always recommend that book too. it's very common for parents to be triggered by their children when they reach a certain age, if that was the age that they experienced a horrific trauma.
Right.
So a lot of girls, when our bodies start changing at 13, 14, 15, we start getting grabbed, we start getting harassed. Like, this is a real thing. I think 90% of women will probably say this has been our experience. I know it was mine. Most of the girls I knew, this was our experience. Mm-hmm. My breasts grew, guys started grabbing my breasts. One time it happened in public. I was in high school. This guy grabbed my titties, give me that, and grabbed it and then ran off. Nobody said anything. One girl sat there and laughed and said, "Ha, you stupid." Talking about the guy, like laughing like it was funny, right? So we go through shit like that. So imagine now you have a daughter who's the age you were when you had that experience. So what ends up happening is a lot of moms, because they're frantic and they're in fear, they start thinking, I have to berate my child and shame this child because I'm in panic mode. You're not thinking straight because you're so worried about your child's health and their well-being that you're not even operating out of a healthy space. You're like, I'm panicked. Right. I don't want my child to die early. I don't want my child to get attacked. But we go about it the wrong way. You start pushing them further into the weight, pushing them further into the arms of some funky ass nigga, right?
Right.
We don't know. We're panicked. We love them so much that we panic and start to operate in survival mode. And if you guys remember what I've talked to you guys about survival mode, you cannot think analytically and long term.
Hell no, not in survival mode. No.
In survival mode, you can't. That part of your brain literally shuts down because it's trying to keep you or your loved ones safe. Your children are safe with you. So you want your children to be safe, you panic for their safety. Oh, you have to be in the house at 7 p.m. on the dot, or I'm going to beat your ass. I'm going to lock you out, which I never said the locking the kids out thing. If your goal is to get them in the house, why would you lock them out? I never understood that. But, I'm going to lock you out, all this stuff. But your goal was to get them in the house to keep them safe. Now they're just out in the street. Or what my friends used to say, well, I'm gonna get in trouble anyway. Might as well just stay out until midnight.
Might as well take this, and then eventually I'm not coming home.
Oh my God, that's a very.
You know what I'm saying? Eventually I'm not coming home. Then I'm staying over at somebody's house. Now I'm in the streets, and I mean this is a domino effect. When most kids, and I don't know how it is in this era because I'm not a kid, and my kid don't do this because we don't have that type of environment at my house. But when I was growing up, you know what I'm saying, all the kids, and I hate to talk about it like this, but all the kids that I knew that was involved in the street life, whether they was kids that was, I knew kids that was staying with other kids. You know what I'm saying? They were staying with their parents, and the parents kind of knew what was going on. Then I knew kids that they were staying with the homies. They was in the street life, banging or whatever it was they was doing, but they wasn't going home because when you met their folks, you'd be like, damn, man, your folks is fucked up. Like it's like, I thought my folks was fucked up. Damn, my homies' folks is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, I thought it was just because my dad was abusive. No, your dad is not only not there, but your mom's a crackhead and she got some other nigga living there and he molesting your sister, beating up on you. You only 12, 13. No wonder you loped out in the streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't become naturally healed from your trauma because you had a kid.
Hell no. That makes it worse.
I can only imagine.
That makes it worse.
But for some reason, people assume that just by being a parent,
hell no.
You're being a parent, you're gonna do.
And the only thing you'll be able to pass down is your trauma.
Exactly.
You're not gonna be able to pass down nothing but trauma.
And Phil Opian made a good point. He thinks he's doing him a favor. He does. He thinks he's doing I think he sincerely wants his child to be healthy and happy. He doesn't know how to create a healthy and happy child.
With all that goddamn money, he can hire a whole lot of a therapist, first of all.
But none of that shit works if you don't know you got a problem.
Well, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? If you think that that's what comes with conversation. So if you would talk to your son like he's your son instead of some nigga on the street, then maybe you could find out what's going on. I'm like, oh, my son's dealing with some type of some trauma. Okay, let me call Dr. such and such because I got dough. I'm
laughing because it's so simple. You just talk to
it's fucking common sense to me. But again, I'm a healthy mind. I'm mentally healthy.
How does your son feel about his body? How does your son? Maybe he's already feeling ashamed. You just made it worse.
Yeah.
Maybe he's being teased at school already. Maybe his teacher's already. Remember, one thing about boys who are bigger, they start getting tall or just bigger guys. What happens is people start being afraid of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna lead to fighting and all that kind of stuff, being labeled because he's a young man. He's kind of tall though too. For 11, he looked like he's about 5 feet tall, 5'1". He might end up being Jate is 6'7".
He might be a naturally big person.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big dude.
Some guys are just don't matter. They can eat all the right things and exercise.
It don't matter. He's just a big dude. That don't mean he's not. That doesn't mean he's unhealthy.
Right. People have to understand that. Stop looking at people's bodies and just assuming you know what's going on.
Man, I know a nigga that's 145 pounds and got high blood pressure right now.
My dad had a mild stroke in his 40s.
Yeah.
He's skinny as fuck. He ate a lot of beef and fried food. And he would tell me he could eat it because he doesn't get fat. Well, he learned that lesson when he got.
Meanwhile, right.
I never had a health problem like that.
No, me neither.
My blood pressure has always been perfect.
Somebody said in the chat that it might have been Rock the Mic. I can't remember who it was, but they said something about how weight control and weight gain is like one of the eternal battles of human beings. And it is. This is something that everybody battles with that. You got bony, skinny girls want to be models talking about I look fat.
Yo, and that's scary. I've met girls who were super real thin and they still thought they were fat.
Yeah.
This is the thing. We can't keep thinking that bullying and shaming people and laughing at them is going to change anything because clearly it hasn't. It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
So
kids, look, you're going to fight a lot because of your weight. You're going to fight if you were shorter. If you're short, people want to make fun of you because you're short. Like that's the type of stuff that's going to happen when you're amongst kids. But like I said, when you go home, that's supposed to be your safe space. That's
supposed to help you get your shit together so you can go back out into the world and be confident despite what people are saying. That's literally where you build that up. So it's not that all kids don't get teased, and some kids aren't as affected by it as others. Why? Because they have a healthy home. They feel secure in themselves because they grew up in a household where they know no matter what, their family got them, their mama got them, their daddy got them, their got them. They can go out to the world and deal with that fuck shit, how they feelings hurt, cry, come home, and the next day they fine.
Yeah, they cool because their house is healthy. And that's the thing is like, when you and your family, everybody will all make jokes about our family. We all sting on each other, all that kind of stuff. But we also know when it's being like, we know when people are being mean, you know what I'm saying? Right. Especially a kid, an 11-year-old. Yeah. What is that, 6th grade? Look, man, I've been working in schools for 11 years. That's the age when they start trying to figure out who they are. 11? Yep. Are you fucking serious? When you're in 6th grade, that's when you start getting interested in girls. That's when you want to try to play on the football team or the basketball team. It's your first time playing organized sports. This is when you want to be seen by your peers. Look, we might think the way these kids dress is whack as fuck, but all the other kids dress that way, so they want to dress like that. This is when they start finding their identity. So for you to be his dad of all people, like, God damn. Really?
Right. That's the thing. If you're a parent, understand.
You ain't even trying, bruh.
Phil Opian said our food system is set up to kill people. Too much sugar, few nutrients. That's a fact. Yeah. I've learned that older since I've been studying more about nutrition. Especially when I did Whole30, that was one of my favorite things because it taught me how to read labels and be very particular about the chemicals that are in my food. Sugar is in almost everything. And
absolutely.
Sugar.
I got lucky. As an athlete, I got a chance to learn about nutrition. But that doesn't mean I don't have urges.
Of course, but this is the thing. You can know a lot of shit, and it doesn't do anything because you still stressed out. You still have carb cravings. Life is still fucked up.
Yeah.
But what's the quickest, cheapest, easiest high to get?
Food. And there's certain things in your brain that kind of tells you want these things.
Dopamine goes to your brain when you taste something real good.
Yeah. The joke is every time black people eat something good, they start dancing. Well, there you go, right there.
That's literally your brain saying, feel good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that dopamine.
Also, the other thing is like about our food is that we assume a lot of people. I won't say we. A lot of people don't know what healthy eating even looks like. What does that mean? When I work in with something called Building Healthy Community. It's an initiative. It was a 10-year initiative pushed by the California Endowment. I was a project coordinator for that. And in the project, they have these people who are doing different types of work around health in South Central, because we had like the lowest life expectancy of literally any other district in the city. We had like the worst life expectancy. So they started doing all these projects, get more fruits and vegetables into the community. So what they would do is, we don't have a lot of liquor stores in certain parts of the hood. So they would put fruits and vegetable stands in the liquor stores and things like that. So then they started doing surveys to see how people were actually utilizing the fruits and vegetables that were out there. Most of them took the fruit, but they didn't know what to do with a zucchini. They had never
right. That's a whole different conversation.
Right. What do I do with a tomatillo? Never seen it before, So because what happens, the farmers would come and give away vegetables and stuff.
Right.
So and they'd be like, well, so they did the survey. They said, well, did anybody, were people using the vegetables? And they were like, we don't know what to do with them. Like, I didn't know what to. I've never had that. And they'll think, and like I went to a class that my doctor sent me to, because when I was morbidly obese, and it was a county program, and in the so everybody in the program is poor because it's a Medi-Cal low income program. So I go into the thing, and it's the first day I'm already turned off. So I'm like, it's like the most basic nutrition shit, right? Like basic of the basic.
An apple a day keeps the dentist away. That bullshit.
Yeah, they would do like a little Zoom thing for like it's called Zoom. What's that shit called?
Zoom,
right? Yeah. Zumba.
Oh yeah. Zumba. Yeah, that's in the hood everywhere.
Yeah,
that's in every hood.
Class in the beginning, then we have to sit and listen to like some nutritional. They have this little slide presentation. And I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck am I here? This is. But it's part of the program when you're obese. They send these programs to help you, and it wasn't. I thought it was useless. I went through and I couldn't do it. The second time I went though, they had a test. They do like testimonials, people who like had lost weight and got successful in this program. Most of the people there were Black. Most people there were Black women. Most of them were older and really overweight. Some of them weren't even that overweight, but they were sickly.
Yeah.
Because of poor eating.
Yeah.
Some of them couldn't even stand. They had to have those walkers that are also chairs.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Those of them weren't that old. They looked older than they were. Some lady was like, I'm only 50, so I thought she was like almost 70. Because her had been eating that bad. And also I think she had been doing drugs too.
That's another layer. That's a
whole nother thing. But anyway, so they had a testimonial section. This lady gets up and she's like, man, this program changed my life. Now, mind you, I think this is the most basic, useless program of all time. And she's sitting up here talking about how it changed her life. Everybody's like, yeah, it changed my life. And she's like, I didn't know before I came to this class that you could bake fish.
Whoa.
She said, I've only had it fried my entire life. I never knew you could bake fish.
Shit. And that goes to show you what little bit of privilege. I feel privileged in a motherfucker right now because.
Man, when she said that shit, my jaw dropped. And then she's talking about how she learned about nutrition. And I was like, here I am in my privileged position because I know a lot about nutrition. I was overweight because I was depressed and shit. But I had to learn my issue wasn't food. Their issue was lack of knowledge about food.
Lack of knowledge, yes.
It wasn't that they were lazy or any of that, because they were cooking like a motherfucker.
They just didn't know.
They didn't know. One lady said, I thought spaghetti and meatballs was a healthy meal because as long as I cooked it at home, she thought she was healthy. Spaghetti and meatballs is not healthy.
Yeah.
Spaghetti is extremely unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't know, there's no vegetables in that, right? If you put vegetables in it, and even then, it's not enough for a serving.
If you cook it, if you're gonna make healthy spaghetti, it's got to be vegan spaghetti, and it's got to be heavy on the vegetables. Well, not really heavy.
It can't. If it's high in carbohydrates, and your body doesn't need that many hard carbohydrates,
right?
And you're not burning off those carbs, you're not exercising a lot, you don't need to be eating it at all.
And this is a conversation that I've had with people online before about because there was somebody on there talking about basically it was such a weird way they were talking about basically saying like, stop telling me to work out, I'm just fine, I want to be fat or some shit. I can't remember what it was.
He said some shit like what did he say? What if it was something about what if you're going to the gym, you're changing your body or
some goofy dumb shit. But the thing about it is this: I never tell people because I never tell people what to do as far as how they're going to lose weight and all that because I got weight issues. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to a certain level and I'll start doing things. My mind works differently. I've been an athlete my whole life, so my mind works differently, and it doesn't mean it's a superior in the way I think about it. It's just different.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'll just say, well, I'm not eating no meat this week, and I won't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Towards if you've been culturally used to doing certain things, like the lady said, she's never baked fish before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You'll see me on Twitter saying, if you fry salmon, you should die. I'll say some stupid shit like that. Like, you really fried salmon? Are you serious? I'm not used to that. It's the going to the gym isn't natural, people, that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is, like, first things first, don't listen to white people and the BMI about your weight, because we're not genetically the same.
I've learned so much about that BMI shit. In fact, I think I was reading also the person that came up with it didn't even mean for it to be utilized the way that it is.
No, at all.
It was supposed to be like just another way to kind of track things with yourself. It wasn't.
You got people that lift weights, bodybuild. What's the brother from down there in Compton? TC Fletcher or CT Fletcher. This brother didn't have like 2 heart attacks. Now I don't know. I'm just assuming he ain't never did steroids, but this brother was in great shape, bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying? Your body is. We're all different. Your body is not built to be certain kind of ways. Like, your muscles are not built to be so big because they'll tear off the bone. Like, I learned this stuff in this program called Atlas when I was an athlete in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would tell you straight up, like, exercising is one thing. There's a such thing as going too far. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because your body is not supposed to be stressed out so far. Your body, it can't handle it. So now I'm not telling everybody just go to McDonald's every day. And I'm not saying everybody knows this, but eventually you will find out how bad McDonald's is for you.
Your body tells you if you pay attention.
Thank you. Your body talks to you.
It's funny because I think sometimes, and I'll say this, I'll speak for myself. For me, I did not know how unhealthy I felt until I started eating healthy, and I realized what healthy feels like. Yes. And so now when I eat bad or I have like a little
you can feel it.
I feel like shit.
You can feel it. Yes.
And I just can't wait to get a vegetable. Like, it just,
yep. You can feel it. Yes.
The thing about the guy with the gym comment that irritated me the most is I felt like he completely ignored the fact that exercise, one, doesn't have to be at the gym, but two, it does more for you than just your physical appearance.
It's for your mental.
The reality is, some people, no matter how much they work out and exercise, a lot ain't gonna change. You can't naturally grow hips and an ass. You can firm them up a little bit, maybe get a little tone, maybe a little lift, but it ain't gonna get no bigger.
That's all genetics.
Your hips ain't your waist might not be thin with wide hips. No matter how much, you might be shaped like this.
I'm 217 pounds. I ain't never gonna be $150. It's not in my genetics. It's not happening.
My doctor. So what's funny? You talk about the BMI chart. So So the BMI chart is bullshit. I had a doctor who told me don't even look at that shit. She's in India, and she was just like, that shit's dumb. She said, I'm looking at your body, and I can already tell you your natural weight is not going to be no damn 135.
No.
I'm not even built that way. She talked about my body build, and so she had a whole other calculation where she does use your BMI, but she uses something else, it's like a whole little math equation. And then when she does the equation, she would does your weight, your height. You have to hold this little thing to get your BMI. You have all the other shit you have to do. And she did all these numbers, and my healthy weight was like 20 to 30 pounds bigger than what was on the chart.
Yeah.
And she said, there's so much that chart doesn't take into account. One, your genetics. They don't have a Tongan person is probably not going to be skinny as a rail.
Hell no.
Or a Samoan is probably not going to be like that. It's just not your genetic. I don't care what the BMI shit says. Your healthy weight is not going to be the same for everybody at your height.
Right.
It's not the same. Also, if you have bigger butt, bigger breasts, whatever, those things also are going to weigh you down a little bit more. So there's so much around your body that's specific to you. But even in that, exercise is just good for you. It makes you feel good. I hate exercise. So you talk.
Well, we know Vita don't want to ride. And I tried to tell Vita to ride a bike. She's like, I ain't riding no bike.
I hate riding bikes.
And then T and Mario made fun of me for riding my bike because I ride a bike all the time. So they make fun of me for riding a bike. I'll be on my bike.
I have a lot of friends who are more into bike riding actually, but I've done bike riding. I've done the Ciclavia, and I've done it twice or once. And where I rode my bike from Union Station, which is downtown LA, all the way to Venice Beach, right? You literally, it's like they shut down the streets and people could just ride their bike or walk. And there's like these little all throughout the city, right? I did that. That was enough. I don't like the way bicycle seats make my butt feel. Um, that shit hurt.
Well, you can buy the gel, you can put the thing over the seat.
They say all that shit, but it's just the shape of the seat. All that shit.
Right. It's not conducive.
You can't be pooping, you can't actually ride the bike. You know?
Right.
So, but also I hate sweating, but I am going to get back into exercise. And most of the time I actually liked it, but now I just can't. I just fucking hate sweating.
I love it. It's just that the weather sucks here so bad right now that I can't really do too much. But I mean, he said, I'm 6'7". I think the BMI for me would be a healthy under. Yeah, the fuck right. Jate is 6'7", and Jate's not basketball 6'7". Jate is football 6'7".
Yeah, from the pictures I've seen or the profile, at least I can tell you're a big guy. I don't think 200. No. Honestly, I would doubt under 200 pounds is.
There's no way. There's no way. You would look sick.
I can't even imagine 200 because honestly, 200 pounds isn't that big.
It's not. It really is not. It's not. What's important for Black people is blood pressure. That's important.
Get your blood pressure. Get your cholesterol numbers.
Yes, right? That's important.
Get your sugar. Make sure your glucose levels are on point. Like, make sure you're not, what's that other, not diabetic, what's the word? Hypoglycemic.
Hypoglycemic, yeah.
All these things. Like, there's all of the health things you could be tracking, and exercise is great for those things.
Because we're all pre-hypertension. What do they call it? Hypertension. We're all pre-hypertension. They've told me I'm pre-hypertension.
Well,
I don't have high blood pressure.
So this is the thing. If you Black, even if you eat healthier and exercise,
pre-hypertension.
You're still more likely to die of heart disease, right?
Yeah.
Or to get or have high blood pressure. And things like that, because of, I believe, this is my theory, I think it's epigenetics and trauma being in our DNA.
Absolutely.
Because we know for a fact that trauma, even your current trauma, affects your health, right? Yeah. In the long term. I told you guys about the Adverse Childhood Experiences study. Google it if you don't believe me. Kaiser and the Center for Disease Control did it, if you trust those kind of institutions. But anyway, there's a direct correlation between your trauma and your health outcomes as an adult. And we know epigenetics exists where trauma is literally passed down in your DNA. So there are certain things. So like Holocaust survivors' grandchildren had PTSD even though they hadn't been in the fucking internment camps, right?
Right. It's in their blood. It's in your blood.
Right. I think it was a Dutch famine study where the women were in their 9th trimester during the famine, or was it World War II, when Hitler cut off the food supply to the countries that wouldn't, bend to his will. And all these women who, when the famine was over and they had their babies, almost all those babies grew up to become obese.
Right.
So these things are also passed down, right? They weren't in the famine, their mothers were, but their bodies were being prepared for the environment they were about to live in. So they said, your body says, I need to hold more fat onto me because I might be in another famine, right? So these babies so your body's being developed for the type of environment you're about to live in. So a lot of times we're developing unhealthy things, like, for example, because we operate in survival mode, glucose is constantly being pumped from our liver into our system, because you're in fight or flight mode all the time.
Yep.
Eventually, you have too much glucose in your system, and it starts producing the glucose. And now you get diabetes. These things are literally things we have to consider. So we have to be extra conscious about our health.
Yeah.
Because we're more likely, even if we do eat right, we're still more likely. So
stress.
To make it less likely, we still have to eat right.
So Pensiva Door is asking, are any of us, and this is the last one before I'll use it as the last one before we go. Are any of y'all genuinely happy in life, and how did y'all do it? I'll say this. Therapy. That's before I'm gonna tell you this. And I know Vita, you didn't know me before then. Jate knew me before then, but I don't know if Jate was around me like that really.
I only know healthy Kenny. I don't know unhealthy Kenny.
Nah, Kenny used to be fucked up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with your relationships with other people. It's about dealing with you first. Once I started dealing with me, I was able to be happy with no money. Now my money good now, but before, man, I used to be fucked up, stressed up. And I mean, like, not in a violent way. I would always be stressed out about something. It was always something. I couldn't find happiness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So once it took 3 years for me to gain this perspective and this introspective way of thinking of, okay, wait a minute. And I remember vividly, I had a therapist and she said, Deweese, are you you got a job? I was like, yeah. And I just got out of college. This is like 11 years ago. And she was like, I've just finished graduate school. She goes, you have a job? I was like, yeah. She said, okay. She said, you got a car note? I was like, nah. She said, if you had to buy your daughter a hoodie, could you buy her one? I said, well, I can get her two. She said, okay, well, let's rule out that if you're taking care of your family or not. We ain't even gonna think about that no more. That taught me how to like put things in perspective. Because what ends up happening is you're not happy when you have all this shit on top of each other. It's like you go grocery shopping, right? Well, we know the meat's supposed to go in the freezer. We know that, you know, the ketchup and the milk and all that goes in the refrigerator, and we know box stuff goes in the cabinet. But when you got all this stuff crammed in your head, you start putting the meat in the cabinet, the milk is in the cabinet, the peanut butter's in the freezer, because you don't have, you're not slowing things down. Like everything is just at a moment, it's just going by really fast because you're not really thinking about and using perspective and you know, putting yourself where you need to be. So once I figured all that out, and I'm not saying I figured it all out, because this is always going to be a continuous thing, because life is always going to be like this.
Yes.
But the thing is, you have to understand that every day, once a week, there's going to be a roller coaster ride. I don't give a damn who you are. There's going to be one. Warren Buffett has one every week. But does the seatbelt fit better this time? And it's the same ride. The ride don't change. It's the same ride. So when we get up to that hill and it's about to go back down, are you more comfortable now this time? Because before, your ass was hanging on the back of it. You know what I'm saying? And you thought you was gonna die. You ain't gonna die, but you thought you was gonna die. And that's how
you tried to jump out so you could die.
Yes, and that's how anxiety works. Because anxiety will make you believe this is how anxiety works. You ever go walk by some bushes at nighttime and they move, you think something back there? That's anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And all the symptoms that come along with it, with the anxiety attacks, panic attacks, heart palpitations, your high blood pressure. That's how I end up with IBS. It's from anxiety. You know what I'm saying? But once
I couldn't tell somebody that was connected to something else, because they kept I was like, there's no way you're gonna tell me this isn't connected to something else. This is everything through your gut. So
the brain is directly connected to your gut. This is scientific, this is physiological, whatever the word is. So how did I find happiness? I had to find happiness within myself before I found happiness in a woman, money, and all that other bullshit that don't mean nothing after you get it. You know what I'm saying? Once you start searching, because that's what the one thing that irritates me, and I had to learn this about hip hop, is hip hop went from finding happiness within yourself and within your community, and finding happiness within money, finding happiness within women, finding happiness within shit, again, that don't mean shit after you get it.
Right.
You know, so we have a culture of not being happy in the world right now, especially in this country. You know what I'm saying? We have a culture of not being happy. It's cool to not be happy. I saw the rapper Jay Worthy on Instagram today. He was in the car with somebody and he made sure to show us that the car was a Lamborghini. But then in his lap was 2 bottles of promethazine, some syrup. What the fuck, nigga?
Wow.
What are you telling me, bruh? What are you telling me?
He's telling you he ain't happy.
Exactly.
That's what he's telling you. So I want to answer this question, and we're going to go because I'm actually getting tired. Well, tireder. Is that a word? More tired?
It's my weekend eat bullshit, so I'm about to go to Wingstop.
Man, that sounds good. I'm not going to eat Wingstop, though. Are any of y'all genuinely happy in life? How did y'all do it? So that's a hard question to answer, because the thing about what I deal with in my mental health is I have bouts. So I have, it's kind of, what's the word? Sometimes I start to get because my anxiety, I start to create problems in my head.
So you tell stories.
There we go. Tell stories. Stories you don't have any real information on.
Absolutely.
So this person doesn't like me. You don't know if the person doesn't like you. You just made that shit up because you're insecure, you're anxious, and you worry what people think. You know that kind of shit. So I still deal with that, but overall, I don't have that feeling. I feel happy in the sense that I don't have depression. I don't have. Well, when I have a sad moment, or if I'm feeling a little depressed, it's nothing like when I didn't want to wake up in the morning. Right. Like I would literally wake up wishing I never woke up. I wish I had died in my sleep. I would literally think that every fucking morning. Why didn't I die in my sleep? I don't have that anymore, right? I was dealing with my depression, started actually addressing it, getting the help I need. By the way, medicine is not a bad thing. Do not let these people tell you that shit.
Right.
It's tough sometimes, and they do have to kind of try. It's kind of trial and error, which is very, very difficult. If you have a
make you
good
feel
doctor,
like shit.
it makes you feel like shit because
Yeah.
the right might not be the right medication. They don't really know until they try it. That's the scary part. But if you do get the right doctor with the right dose of what you need, it can actually help you tremendously. I'm on medication that I take every day that helps balance me as well because my body was not producing the proper chemicals in my brain
because of the trauma.
Because of trauma, your body starts producing them because it's using those stress hormones so much that your body has too much of it in its system and it stops producing it. So I didn't have enough to give me energy to get up in the morning. I didn't have the chemicals in my brain to help me think straight. I was always depressed. So medication helped me a lot with balancing out those chemicals. So I'm not against medication at all, but you can't do it alone.
Right.
You have to, because the whole point is to get you off the medication, right? So right now, which hopefully I'll be in the process of soon. But the thing about medication is it helps you when you have those tough moments that you're able to not go down with it. Right? I was homeless. Like, I'm not joking. I was on couches and sleeping. I was trying to find friends who were going out of town so I could house sit, shit like that, right? Didn't have a job. Or I had a job, but it wasn't enough, right? It was like a part-time job. So I'm going through all that, but I'm not depressed. How? How did that happen? Because like we talked about, King, circumstances didn't. In fact, my circumstances got worse while I was
got worse. Yeah.
I had a place to live when I first started my process. In the middle of my process, I had no place to live. Right. So these things happen, but I don't go down with it. I don't I have some devastating things happening to me right now. You guys see my Twitter? I have a relative that's really close to me who's on his deathbed. We just waiting to hope. We're hoping. Of course, we have all the hope in the world, but it's just not looking good. That's stressful for me.
Right.
I'm not sitting in my bed crying. I'm not curled up in a ball somewhere. I'm able to live my life and keep it moving. So happiness, it's
relative.
It's relative. And some days I feel happier than others. I still have days where I feel, but there's times I don't want to be on this camera.
Yeah.
I feel like shit. Not now.
Look,
I feel
for the fans that don't know, or maybe some of you do know, when this podcast first started, I was not on here. Now I was there when it was created. I've been day one, but I wasn't on here for the first 100 episodes because at that time I was dealing with my shit at that time. There was no way that I could do this and deal with what I was dealing with at that time. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And I had to take a step back. And I was hearing from T, Mario, and Big Mike, rest in peace. Man, I wasn't even on social media. Like the brothers hadn't heard from me in like 9 months. The only way I was going to be able to figure these things out is if I took time to myself and did the work. I'm gonna tell you like this. It ain't easy work. There's been many a times I would go to therapy and be like, man, I ain't trying to do this no more.
Man, my therapist gave me homework the other day. I can't even get myself to open the fucking email because he make me think too much.
Yeah, look, Phil Opium. Yeah, 500 million would take away half of your problems, but it ain't gonna make you happy. Trust me.
Yeah, that's not even the same thing. That's the thing about happiness. Because 500 million sounds good until people start hitting you up about.
They start asking your black ass for it.
Listen, you know how many times you have people who would get win the lottery and shit, and they said that the money part wasn't the hardest part. No. Everybody asking them for it,
and that's why they all go broke within 3 years.
Listen, people literally do need money, and they're dying out here. You got 500 million. You got to hear all these depressing ass fucking stories.
Yep.
And, so there's a lot, and then you depressed because money doesn't mean that you won't be depressed. I can't tell you how many, and you probably had a therapist that had to work with somebody who had a lot of money. I've had therapists who work with people who had a lot of money, and they're still in therapy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And because Pensive Lador is saying he stopped going to therapy. Look, just because I have more than one, I had to find the right one.
If you stop going to therapy, it's either, in my opinion, don't just take us as the word of God or anything, just my opinion. If you stop going to therapy, either it wasn't helping you and it wasn't a therapist that you connected with,
Right.
I get to the point where I actually like going to therapy because I love my therapist. He's amazing. You know, I got a black guy who's really dope. I had a black guy before him who I hated. So,
Right.
you know, so definitely, you know, if you, for whatever reason, find out, maybe you don't have the right one that can build the connection with you where you can feel comfortable and excited almost to get that help. You know, it's work. So I'm not going to lie to you.
It's
But
work.
it's like when you have a good teacher, yeah, they might be putting a lot of work on you, but you like the teacher, they're helping you, they're supporting you, all that shit.
This fucking nut. Get this dude. I'm blocking the. Get him out of here.
Yeah, you blocked probable cause.
Get him out of here.
He gonna build his own personal arcade. So he can play Smash Brothers. Is that what this is about? Her Esther Baxter as my maid. She is not gonna be your maid. You know what's funny? It's things like that always crack me because when you ever talk to people who were depressed and then got money and then got women and all that shit, you know what they tell you?
Yeah, worse. Yeah, it got worse. Yeah, I always tell people like with money, money is like alcohol. However you were before you got it, you're gonna be that times 10. Just like alcohol.
Principal Dora says some stuff is too personal. Yes.
It's true.
And that's the thing about trauma. Your therapist can still help you if they don't know the specifics of your trauma.
Yeah, you just got to find the right one. As a matter of fact, Pennsylvania, DM me on Twitter because I might have someone you could check out. So DM me on Twitter because she might not work for you, but she's dope, man. And I'm talking. You're talking to a dude that, nigga, I done been abused as a child. Fucking, I done did it all in the streets and jail, all kinds of weird, stupid shit. Trust me, if she can help me out, she might be able to help you. So DM me on Twitter and we'll chop it up.
Yeah, and also another thing about therapy, it may not be because the therapist isn't a good therapist. Sometimes we're just not ready for therapy.
Yeah, that's another thing. You got to be ready. Yeah,
and that's okay too. What I recommend.
Who would I got blocked on Twitter? I got you blocked on Twitter.
Well, what's your Twitter name?
What's your Twitter name?
But Kenny blocks everybody, so don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
Listen, he goes on a line sometimes and starts blocking people. So just don't
you might have caught a stray. You know, sometimes I swear to God, I don't know what your name is on Twitter though.
But I was gonna say, if you're not ready for therapy, that's okay. I always recommend going on. I'll send you links. I shouldn't tell you to go on YouTube, but there are some really great therapists who just talk about certain topics and that give great information. So, and also reading a lot of books. I don't know if you like to read or if you have the energy. If you have audiobooks, I know when I was depressed, I couldn't always read. And I struggle with attention deficit. So I struggle with reading sometimes. Audiobooks are great because I can do multiple things while listening.
Absolutely.
So Trauma and Recovery is a good book. I always recommend this book, The Body Keeps the Score. Just if you get the audiobook for that, Pensive Door, I believe that'll help a lot because what happens is it helps you understand what's going on with yourself.
Right.
When I did that and then went into therapy, one, I could find a better therapist because I knew what I was looking for. I needed a therapist who dealt with trauma and imposter syndrome and the things I went in with goals.
Right.
So if you have things that you want to come out of there with, have that ready. So when you give yourself some time. Therapy is also not a quick fix. It doesn't always help everyone if they don't have the right therapist. Do your research, learn more about I bet you whatever your trauma is, there's a book about it somewhere.
Oh,
Read
yeah.
it. Find out. There's a great book called Childhood Disrupted. If you want to, that's another good book. In fact, hit me up if you want some recommendations. A lot of these are available in audiobooks. Some of them I actually have on PDF if you want to hit me. So yeah, just do the research if that helps. I'm one of those people. I gotta learn some shit and then I can make better decisions. So that's gonna help with a lot of things. Probable causes Kenny helped him. That's good. So that means that Kenny got a good one. He knows how to recommend a good one. Hit him up so you can have that.
Bro, I don't have you blocked. Your name ain't even coming up. Your name is not coming up, fam. There's only one. No, you got that. No, that ain't me.
You might got he's Lazarus. Lazarus.
Yeah.
Lynn. You might have one of his old band accounts.
Yeah.
Or his old account got bands. So
it might be KD the BG that had. I don't know.
It might be. You might be following the band account. So
yeah, if you're following the band account, and that one had a lot of followers. So if you're following that one, It's a
I
wrap.
said he's new to Twitter. Or she. I don't know if it's a he or she.
Yeah, how about if you're new to Twitter, there's no way I could have blocked you.
Well, I mean that they said they're used to, like, they're new to using it. That doesn't, they might have had an account or something. But either way, thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Great discussion. Make sure that you check us out on Patreon, and we're on Spotify too. Get the podcast. Listen to the podcast. Join Patreon. Become a patron to get the whole podcast. That's where the good shit is. And make sure that you. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, check us out on Patreon, and where else are we at? Twitter and Instagram and Twitch and run a bunch of shit. So if you want to donate and support the work that we're doing, so we continue to do it, you can also PayPal us at Champagne Sharks at Gmail and PayPal. We're on Cash App, Champagne Sharks. If you just Champagne Sharks is like the easiest.
Yeah, if you Google Champagne Sharks, everything will come up because that name is so awkward and like I don't know what T was thinking about. But
I don't know, but it was good. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
There's nothing else called Champagne Sharks.
Absolutely nothing.
I asked what it meant. Y'all didn't have a meaning, and I was like, that works for me. So, but anyway, thank you again, guys. We appreciate you all. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share and subscribe to the channel. Also on Twitch, they said we don't shout out Twitch people enough. Shout out to our Twitch fans and followers. Make sure that you also are subbing and sharing subs and all that stuff. That helps.
Oh yeah, we're gonna create a Facebook page here soon too. So
yeah, that would be great. We could probably stream there too. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night.
All right. Peace, y'all.